We are covering Colorado first and elevating Latino voices on CBS News Colorado. Hello, I'm Michelle Griego.
I'm Dominic Garcia. More than 1 in 5 Coloradans identify as Latino. That's according to the 2020 census. And the economic and voting power of Latinos in our state is growing.
CBS News Colorado is elevating Latino voices, and we are excited to showcase the incredible opportunities ahead for our state, the challenges, and the resilience of our Latinx community. For the better part of 50 years, Mi Casa Resource Center has been fueling the entrepreneurial dreams of Coloradans like Cynthia Diaz. As Michaela White tells us, the career and business graduates of Mi Casa generate more than $25 million a year in revenue.
Our two biggest drinks are the horchata latte and our Donancin mocha latte, our house mocha.
Cynthia Diaz always wanted to own a business that would build a sense of community.
Donancin means Mother Earth, and where is like the best place to feel at home is at your mother's house.
Donancin Cafe in the Santa Fe Arts District was born during the pandemic. The Casa de Cafe bustles with customers who appreciate the good vibes plus the indigenous and Latin American inspired fare.
I mean, Casa, we really feel like this is like the baby has been born, right? That we have all of a sudden reality, their dream has come a reality.
Mi Casa's Business Pathways program supports entrepreneurs through all stages of business development. It has a bilingual curriculum and the mentorship needed to instill confidence. Nearly 1,500 people were served in just the past year.
Think about the impact, the millions of dollars that these businesses are creating in our community, and they're creating jobs, creating opportunities for their families, but also what happens throughout the community when those investments are made.
Cynthia Diaz credits her staff for going the extra mile to foster the community she dreamed of.
Each one of my staff has like a fan club within the communities. Customers will come in and ask for, hey, is so-and-so here? In like a time where labor is complete shortage right now, like I've been blessed enough to find a staff that just brings the mission of Donancin to life in everything that they do. So that has been definitely my biggest joy.
And her greatest lesson from Mi Casa is how critical relationships are to succeeding in business, especially when focused on bringing people together for a cup of cafecito. Michaela White, covering Colorado first.
Donancin is growing its business, hiring, and will soon announce its expansion to a new location.
Well, more than half of Latinos in Colorado report that their economic situation has gotten worse. That's according to a new survey from Voces Unidas. A third quit their job last year because of bad working conditions. Latinos could be the deciding factor in Colorado's biggest races this November, and there's ample room for both parties to engage this community.
Keep in mind, 2021 survey, now the 2022, clearly indicates that Latinos are struggling economically, and they support a wide range of policies to address that. This is the first federal election, at least, that these Latino voters have an opportunity to voice their opinion through the ballot box.
Well, that survey is the largest poll of nonpartisan Latino voters ever conducted in our state. Voters are looking ahead to the November election in our state's newest congressional district. The 8th congressional district covers a large area that includes parts of Adams, Larimer, and Weld counties. Our Tori Mason reports on the key demographic that could decide this race.
A lot of eyes are going to be on the race for Colorado's 8th congressional district. It has national importance. Right now, Latinos make up 39% of Greeley, and less than half are registered to vote.
We may go door to door. In fact, I think we will go door to door.
It's a small group that could have a huge impact on the nation. They live in one of the most competitive districts for a U.S. House seat, and they want more Latinos at the polls.
I think there was just frustration. We were practically gerrymandered with the last district we had in CD4, and I think a lot of Latinos gave up.
Sunica's training volunteers to turn them back into voters. Only 20% of Latinos in Greeley are registered.
I think that they're overlooked more often than not.
Volunteers like Kimber Watson recognize being heard isn't always that simple.
I just came from Texas, and I have never seen voter suppression like I had there, and I want to make a difference.
These circulators are ready to address the barriers many of their neighbors face here.
She was wanting him to register to vote. He thought she was talking about insurance.
If Latinos in the 8th show up in November, they'll have the numbers to make significant shifts in power. Sunica wants to show them their strength.
You're doing yourself a disservice because you're not letting your interests be represented, and that's your right to do so.
So that registration drive is made up of a nonpartisan group, and they tell me they're going to be out here in Greeley getting people registered right up until the election. Reporting in Greeley, I'm Tori Mason, covering Colorado First.
Volunteers say they'll set up registration locations where people can easily access them, and they might even go door to door.
And these are nerve-wracking times for people who currently enjoy protections under the DREAM Act. The future of the program could be known very soon. The Obama-era measure protects people brought into the U.S. illegally as children. The Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, or DACA, includes more than 800,000 people. The program was created in 2012, and last year, a judge in Texas ruled it's illegal. That ruling was appealed, and a decision is expected soon. As Marissa Armas reports, reversing DACA would have life-changing impacts on the estimated 14,000 DACA recipients here who have a spending power of nearly $400 million.
Well, Romero, nice ball here, one-on-one with the keep, and Ross Miller.
If you've ever tuned into Roadrunners All Access TV,
Jamie Swaga con el tiro, disparo, goal!
This voice may sound familiar.
I feel like a little kid again, just screaming goal at the top of my lungs.
It's a dream that for Cristian Perez Orona was almost not possible until having DACA.
It was a big opportunity for me and my older brother, who were born in Mexico and didn't have any status until recently.
But Cristian's dream of being a sportscaster one day could be stripped away.
There was a lot of fear, a lot of sadness, and a lot of frustration.
That's because the legality of DACA is currently being questioned in the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, and a ruling is expected soon.
This is going to be terrible for our communities. I can't believe it's happening, and I can't believe the federal government is going to allow that to happen too.
Luis Antesana is the founder of Juntos to College and helps undocumented families find jobs and careers. The organization has helped Christian renew his DACA.
We're getting a group together of public and private sector leaderships at the C level who want to contribute financial or non-financial resources to an emergency relief short-term solution in the case that that ever happens.
And as advocates prepare for the possibility of the program ending, Cristian remains hopeful about his future and his dream of becoming a sportscaster.
So there you have it, MSU Denver making a huge splash with I have faith in those that have put such goodwill towards this program and towards the recipients. So I truly do believe that we will be here permanently one day.
I'm Marissa Armas, covering Colorado First.
Metropolitan State became one of the first universities in the country to offer undocumented students in-state tuition.
Well, just ahead, they grew up in Denver, are proud DPS graduates, and they married young. How one couple has invested millions of dollars in philanthropic endeavors to benefit others in our state. And an effort to honor the significant contributions of beat workers to our state's history. That and more coming up. For years, the Denver family has been building a legacy to be proud of. The Salazar family has donated to organizations like the Mi Casa Resource Center and the Denver Foundation, among many others.
Marissa Armas explains how the family is using their success to lift others up.
Passing through the intersection of Spear and Auraria Parkway, you might notice a building with some familiar names.
We didn't put our names on the building to be showy off. We put our name on the building because people asked us to. They said it's important. It's important for you to be the role model for all the kids going through this university and for the young kids growing up.
Growing up in predominantly Latino working-class neighborhoods, Rob and Lola Salazar didn't have many resources. The couple met while attending different DPS high schools, becoming parents at a young age.
We did not have a lot of money, but we knew that education was important and we both wanted degrees. We didn't know how we were going to do it. So the decision was to do it one at a time.
The couple pursued degrees and eventually began careers in education and accounting.
Some of our successes have been a little harder because of who we are and where we came from also.
And after years of working hard and achieving financial success in the late 90s, they created the Salazar Family Foundation as a way to give back to the people and places that once helped them.
I want kids to know that with the successes that they have and with the struggles that they have, that I actually had those same ones. And that if I can achieve, so can they. And I think it's important for them to see I look like a relative.
Over the years, the foundation has given millions to a myriad of causes throughout the Denver metro area, helping build a stronger community.
I hope my legacy is leaving a little piece of kindness.
Giving back to others.
I think that's important.
So that they can eventually give back too.
Dream big, 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 to set goals and write them down and to work really, really hard to achieve them, but then also to remember to give back.
I'm Marissa Armas, covering Colorado First.
And Salazar Family Foundation's emphasis has been donating to education causes, with millions invested in scholarships and school support. They're now going to add a focus on homelessness. Well, Salazar says the community can no longer look the other way with so many people sleeping on the streets.
The Colorado Army National Guard just named its first Latino chief of staff in 20 years. Colonel Isaac Martinez has been part of the Guard since 1996. He says mentorship has always been an important part of the organization, and now he hopes to pave the way for more Latinos to step into senior roles.
But this gives us an opportunity in this position to say, hey, come back, come give back to the community, and come provide some of that guidance and leadership that, that was brought to you as you grew up here.
Coming up next, an extraordinary effort to recover Chicano art that was whitewashed decades ago. Murals considered among the country's most endangered historic places.
And they were essential to one of Colorado's most important industries. We'll tell you about the ways they are being memorialized in our state. That's ahead.
Someone painted over one of Colorado's largest and most iconic murals at the height of its influence.
And now, thanks to advances in technology and a boost from the National Trust for Historic Preservation, the Chicano mural Urban Dope Rural Hope will be restored.
Urban Dope Rural Hope will be the oldest mural that we resurrect. And what's so significant about that is the community is no longer there. So this is going to be a remembrance of that community.
In 1977, the families of Sun Valley Homes helped create a large and stunning piece of public art.
I think the mural has made this immediate community, it beautifies the area itself. Well, it makes me feel like living here really isn't that bad.
I think that was the highlight of the whole thing. It's just seeing people really getting into the mural and liking it.
Removing the whitewash has to be done with care to avoid damaging the original art.
The community was definitely devastated, as well as myself, to see that it was painted over.
Painted over by the city in the 1990s after the mural was tagged. Although its creator, Emmanuel Martinez, was already an internationally acclaimed artist.
We started losing our murals really early on, where they weren't, they were kind of considered disposable. So that really, I saw how it impacted the artists and the community.
But the whitewashing of Chicano murals continued, this one in 2020, prompting the National Trust to highlight the murals as endangered and the significant contributions of Chicanos and Mexican Americans to Colorado at risk of being erased.
Because really it belongs to the community, and the community sees themselves here. I was so excited to see it come back to life as we were cleaning it. It was just like something I never imagined could happen.
Cultural treasures now also telling the story of communities priced out.
Especially now with displacement, it really becomes identifier of who lived in these communities.
Dominic Garcia, covering Colorado First. Well, the Greenway Foundation supported the creation of Martinez's original mural and continues to support its restoration.
Now to northern Colorado, home to a new monument paying tribute to an important part of Colorado history. It honors the Latino workers who helped shape our state's agricultural industry. Their backbreaking work is often overlooked, and Marissa Armas shows us how they're being remembered.
This is a picture of me, my mother, and my dad.
Carmel Chuck Solano's childhood was everything but ordinary.
When I started, we got paid $11 for every acre of beets that you thinned.
Using his hands and a short hoe, Chuck, along with his family, worked the fields in northern Colorado, picking sugar beets in the mid-1900s.
I hated it, even at the age of 7 when I first started. I thought, this isn't any fun, you know. I'd rather be on a school playground instead of out here hacking away.
But for Hispanic families at the time, there weren't many options. Field work was the mainstay of the community, and by the late 1920s, the sugar beet industry was the largest employer of Hispanics in Colorado.
We had sugar factories in Eaton, in Greeley, in Johnstown, in Fort Collins, in Loveland.
There's so many newcomers that come in that don't know the history.
Making sure that history is known by future generations prompted Mujeres de Colores founder Betty Aragon Mitotes to spearhead a project to honor the generations of Hispanic beat workers.
We wanted to make sure that we cement our place in history.
And after raising over $300,000, in 2021, the Hand That Feeds sculpture was erected at Sugar Beet Park in North Fort Collins.
With this monument, we're able to show the importance of preserving our history. This is about the contributions of the Hispanic and Mexican beet workers, but yet never got the recognition that they deserved.
A monument to honor workers like Chuck, a place that people can go to remember those beet workers who are part of the fabric of Colorado.
I think it's important that the younger generation, they need to know what we went through.
I'm Marissa Armas, covering Colorado First.
Mujeres de Colores is having a one-year celebration of the monument on October 16th from 12 to 4 p.m. at Sugar Beet Park in Fort Collins. It was one of the country's first wins for desegregating public schools. Just ahead, we'll tell you about an important but little-known fight for educational equity in our state.
Decades before Brown versus Board of Education desegregated schools nationwide, Latinos in Colorado fought and won their right to attend whatever school they wanted.
The desegregation case was the first of its kind, and now there is work underway to preserve the memory of the historic case. Michael Abeta traveled to Alamosa to learn more about this push to remind people that equality is an old-fashioned Colorado value.
The San Luis Valley is one of the oldest communities in Colorado. It used to be part of Mexico, but after the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, which ended the Spanish-American War, it suddenly became part of the United States of America. That's when inequities started to arise for the Mexicanos who lived in this area, but the people of the San Luis Valley weren't about to stand for that.
Pido permiso, señores, para empezar a cantar de Francisco Maestas, que del traque vino a pelear. En 1914 en Alamosa pasó.
Hispano struggle for equality is not a recent event.
In the San Luis Valley, Mexican-American culture runs deep. The Hispano people who settled in the area during the Spanish colonization of the Southwest have held on to their traditions for hundreds of years.
The fight within the school, Don Francisco ganó.
And for just about as long, they've fought for their rights as Americans.
There are many indications that the KKK was very strong even in this area.
At the turn of the 20th century, Alamosa was a segregated town. Mexicanos and whites lived in two different and unequal worlds. The divide was evident when it came to education.
Alamosa had two schools, to which tenían que andar.
The town had a school for white children and a school for Mexican-American children. The school board did not allow any mixing, even for Francisco Maestas, who lived close to the white school but across town from the Spanish school. That was a problem because his kids had to cross busy railroad tracks every day just to make it to school. Plus, the valley didn't make it any easier.
The weather in wintertime to get 40 below, 30 below. And so any kind of traveling on foot, especially by young children, is a dangerous proposition.
Francisco petitioned to get his son Miguel into the white school, but the school board refused, saying that despite his children speaking fluent English, they needed to be educated in Spanish. The Mexican-American community did not like that decision.
The Mexicanos, the Hispanos got together and said, this is not right. This is discrimination.
They pooled their resources and hired a lawyer to challenge the decision in Colorado courts. Their sacrifices paid off.
Judge Hobart declaró, attend the nearest school, y así lo mando yo.
A Colorado district judge ruled that the school board was violating the Maestas children's rights by depriving them of equal access to education based on their race. It was a big decision for 1914.
It is my belief that this particular case is the first desegregation case, particularly for Hispanos, in the country.
But even though it was a first-of-its-kind decision that could have changed race relations across the nation, the case was forgotten for one whole century. That is until some academics contacted Judge Martin Gonzalez, the first Mexican-American to be district court judge in Alamosa, and asked him to help them research the case. Judge Gonzalez says he realized immediately the importance of the decision.
These kinds of rights and, frankly, responsibilities are very important to how society gets conducted.
That's why now in his retirement, the Alamosa native works to spread the word about the Maestas decision, so people know that equality is an old-fashioned Colorado value that has been forgotten for too long, and to honor the struggles his ancestors and their compañeros made to ensure he and children like him could get the education they deserved.
My gente looked at it as just one more struggle of many struggles that had happened, did happen, or are continuing to happen.
Michael Aveta, covering Colorado First.
Just this month, the Maestas Commemoration Committee dedicated a bronze relief at the entry to the Alamosa County Courthouse in honor of the 1914 court case.
And we are committed to elevating Latino voices all throughout the year, and we want to hear your story, so please contact us at CBS News Colorado.
Thanks so much for joining us.